Hi, this is Maani with Phoenix Tactical Solutions, and today is a confessional of sorts from me, a former modified Weaver shooter. Now, why did that change? Many reasons. I mean, I used to shoot it for many years. I used to do well with it. I used to shoot fast, accurately, but I found that isosceles suits me better. First of all, in a stressful situation, this is my natural motion, right? Stop. I found that with modified Weaver, my shooting is always the same. The relationship between my hands and the handgun and the distance from the handgun to my body is very much the same every shot. Now, it's negligible differences obviously depending on stress level, but with modified Weaver I noticed sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm here. Depending on the stress level, there was a lot of deviation, and the fact that I had to do a push-pull, it wasn't as consistent and it wasn't conducive to getting nice follow-up shots and controlling recoil and stacking my shots on top of each other. I noticed the minute I started shooting isosceles, my rounds, my control pairs were stacking much better. So it just worked for me better because it was more natural. Now obviously my sector of fire improved as well, because when I'm shooting isosceles, I have a much bigger area as far as a sector of fire is concerned. Whereas with modified Weaver, because of the way the body is and the fact that my body is facing 2 o'clock, my head and handgun are facing 12, if I want to shoot something to my left, it was difficult. It just didn't suit shooting an all-around shooter well. Other problems with it, shooting from cover, especially as a right-handed shooter from the left. When I'm shooting isosceles, it doesn't matter whether I'm cross-eye dominant, shooting from the left side of cover or shooting from the right side of cover. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's always the same. It's in front of me. So with modified Weaver, I don't have that luxury. So that was another reason that I opted for isosceles, because it just made me a better shooter, I think. Another thing is light flashlight techniques. As you know, if I'm shooting, by the way, this is a blue gun. If I'm shooting modified Weaver, Harry's technique is the technique of choice for shooting modified Weaver. It's very tiring. Basically, it's isometric tension. The back of my hands touch each other and apply pressure against each other. But what happens? After a while, it's so tiring, it becomes a platform, basically. It becomes a single shot proposition. My follow-up shots, even if I'm doing it correctly, are not as controllable as would be with Rogers, because it's as close to a two-handed grip as possible, as you can see. As close to a two-handed grip as possible. So, how does that help things? Well, you'll notice that you have more control. You have more control over your follow-up shots, multiple targets. You can stack your shots much better because you have basically as close to a two-handed grip as possible. So these are some of the reasons which, for me, isosceles is the way to go. Now again, you got to find out what works for you and evolve. Bad analogy. A lot of guys saying in college, man, I smoked pot all through college and I got 95s. Well, if you hadn't, you would have gotten 100. So whatever gives you that little tiny bit of an improvement, you should embrace it. For me, isosceles destroys modified Weaver. It's just more natural. I have a wider sector of fire. I can control the gun better. My hands, in relation to the handgun, are always the same place. The distance between me and the handgun it's always pretty much the same. It's negligible distances depending on stress level. Where my recoil control comes, it's a lot of my body weight behind the gun. Whereas with modified Weaver, it's that push-pull, which again is very tiring. So these are the reasons I evolved. I look forward to your comments and hope to see you in class someday. Thanks for watching. Take care.